What's going on, everyone? So, Augustus Marcelonus is somebody that the Lakers brought into Summer League. Actually, pretty solid in Summer League. He's more of that kind of traditional point guard, right? Like, think of like a TJ McConnell, right? Somebody that can come off the bench, kind of operate in that mid-range, not really looked at as a great three-point shooter, but kind of get to his spots, elevate, shoot a bit over the top, right? Be crafty in that mid-range area, but kind of pick teams apart as that playmaker. Got good size. Marcelonus, 6'4" in size, kind of play either guard position for you, run an offense, initiated offense. He's a guy that Lakers have been high on. Kind of like the idea of him being a part of this team. Doesn't really give you like the insane athleticism or anything like that. Like I said, think of like a Pat Connaughton, DJ McConnell type of guy, like somebody that can, kind of slot in, get buckets, operate in the mid-range area, kind of just be that dribble penetrator that can get into the teeth of the defense, kick out to shooters, throw up to a lob threat. Guy that could be, I don't know how much sense he makes with Luka and Austin Reeves, right? But if you were to like trade in Austin Reeves, then I think he's a guy that makes a ton of sense as that kind of playmaker off the bench, right? To where you can still maintain that. But I just think, especially if the Lakers do keep Austin Reeves long term, Marcelonus, I think, is a guy that you're probably, I don't know how much he plays on the court, especially if he can't really shoot the three ball super well. Now, obviously, that's something he can work on. He's 23 years old. We'll get into all of that here in a moment. But he is also signed on to participate in training camp for the Lakers. Don't really know if he's going to make the main roster or even a two-way spot. I think you're probably looking more at like an Arthur Kaluma or an Eric Dixon, probably more likely just for the size, the forward. They're more kind of like NBA ready, and the Lakers kind of have an abundance of guards right now. But Augustus Marcelonus is somebody that I think could slot it, maybe go to the G League, kind of stay under the umbrella of the Lakers. But Marcelonus also himself has even recently talked about how, he's not necessarily looking to make the Lakers roster. Like, he would love it, obviously, but I think even he seems to understand that, like, hey, this is more about the spotlight and opportunity to go elsewhere, right? So I want to read exactly what he said, because he was recently asked, and he talked about how the Milwaukee Bucks also were really pushing hard for him, but that he had to make a decision between the Bucks or the Lakers, and the decision essentially came down to his agent and opportunities with the Lakers. That him and his agent basically felt like they had more connections in LA, as well as more opportunity because of the spotlight. And so, like, you hear things coming out of LA a lot more than you will from the Bucks, and if he's really good in training camp, maybe get some summer league minutes, something like that. Or some preseason minutes, something like it's possible that we could see, maybe Marcelonus potentially getting an opportunity elsewhere. But the attention was similar from both teams. But in Los Angeles, there were more people my agent and I knew and trusted. We understood the situation was better there. For some reason, LA just felt like the right choice. Still, it wasn't easy because I don't know that much about the NBA environment yet, but we thought this was the best place for me. And then it goes on to talk about his season with St. Mary's, averaged 14.2 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds in 35 games while shooting 44.6% from the field and 34.7% from three-point range. So basically 35% from three-point range, right? Which is a good sign that he has the potential to be a good three-point shooter. Even if that like 35, 36% from three-point range, if he can kind of translate that into the league, that could be very beneficial. But he basically, it's very simple. He said himself, like him and his agent just have more, they know more people in LA. They have more connections. Obviously there's concerns about like, would I actually have an opportunity to make the roster in Milwaukee, or would I have an opportunity to make the roster on the Lakers? Probably more likely to make Milwaukee than the Lakers right now, just given the circumstance situation. And the Lakers don't really have that open roster spot. Maybe you can make a two-way spot, right? Are the Lakers going to make some trades and stuff in order to bring in and sign Augustus? Probably not. So again, there's some kind of questions in that regard, but he understands that, like, hey, we really need to. I thought LA was the best spot to kind of shine the light on me, give me the best chance, give me the best opportunities to end up making a roster somewhere. And look, he's a guy I would love to see the Lakers kind of keep around. I just don't think he makes sense on the main roster right now, as well as on the two-way spot. I just think, you have Christian Koloko, you have probably Kaluma or Eric Dixon or whatever. You have basically the spots locked up, in my opinion, right? Now, again, maybe Augustus is just absolutely lights out. That's a possibility, right? But I just think more likely than not, he's probably best case looking at the G League team, staying under the umbrella of the G League team, kind of taking it from there where, on a team like Milwaukee, I think maybe he could be on a two-way or a main roster spot or something like that. I just think he might have had more opportunities to make it. Like I said, the spotlight. If things start coming out of camp that, hey, Augustus Marcelonus is torching folks, he's out there killing, he's out there cooking, one that might incentivize the Lakers to maybe make a move to maybe bring in a Koloko or something to then free up the roster spot or free up the two-way spot to bring him in something, who knows, or, maybe on the main roster spot, whatever, right? We'll kind of see how that plays out, but it also, I think, would shine the light on him getting a potential spot on one of these other teams. And even Milwaukee, if Milwaukee was interested in him and wanted him, they probably still would. If he doesn't make the main roster, they can maybe look to, hey, well, come to us. So I think for him, it's kind of like the low risk, high reward. It's like worst case scenario, Milwaukee's probably still going to want me and probably still want to bring me on board in some capacity. And if I can make it with the Lakers, that would be great. Even if I don't make it with the Lakers, I can always pivot and, maybe get the attention to go elsewhere. So I do think it's kind of a good opportunity and potential for Augustus Marcelonus. But getting into him a little bit. Right, like I said, 23 years old, just turned 23 in March, so he'll be basically midway point or a little more than midway through the season. He will be 34 years old, 24 years old, not 34, 24. So again, a little older, but that's good. Like Lakers have had a lot of success with kind of those older, more mature players that have played several seasons in the league and whatnot. Because they just have a better grasp, better understanding. Like he's coming in, he knows, like, I'm not going to be a super. I'm not going to be the best. Like, I'm here to play a role. Get me on the basketball court. Let me operate and do my thing and just watch what I can do for you. But again, played 4 years in St. Mary's. Last year, 35 games played, 35 games started, 34.8 minutes per game, shot 11.2 field goal attempts per game, shot 44.6% from the floor, 3-point range on 4.2 attempts, shot 34.7%. Good thing is each year he actually improved. Year 2 to year 3 was just slightly. He, on 3.2 attempts, shot 34.3%, but he got one more full attempt, so 4.2, and shot 34.7%. So he actually got one more attempt and slightly increased his three-point shooting percentage. So it's a good sign, but he's progressing year in and year out. Come to Lakers, work on his three-point shot. Right, he's a guy that if he could develop like a consistent three, not even like in the 40, like could he just be 37, 38%, he could actually be a real player for teams in the league, right? Again, he could be a guy, I don't know if he'll be that starter kind of guy, but think of like a Tyus Jones and how good and impactful he was in that bench role. Like teams, he wanted to be that starter, and it's just like he's just not that guy as a starter, but as a backup, he might be the best backup point guard in the league, that kind of thing. Like that's kind of how I look at Justice potentially being kind of one of those like higher end backups. Like if he's your backup, you're in great hands, great safe, or great space. He can start in a pinch and be that guy that can run an offense, but probably not the guy you want 82 games type thing. If Luka gets a couple games off, it's like he's filling in and playing that role. Like that's kind of what I could see, but you're also going to need him to be able to knock down the three ball, so that way he can kind of play more off ball at times, especially on a team with like a Luka, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, right? Where right now, he's closer to like the Chris Paul type than he is like a JJ Redick type, right? Where you're just asking him to operate. That's why I think TJ McConnell is a really good example. A guy that can get to his spots, find his spots, hit his spots, get into the mid-range, operate in the mid-range, make plays out of there, throw up the lob, operate the pick and roll. Just a really good kind of traditional style point guard. A guy that if you're looking to go out there and give you 10 points and 6 assists on a nightly, he's the guy that'll do that. Give you clockwork. Right? That's kind of where I see him locking and slotted in. But 2-point attempts, 7 attempts, 50.6% from 2-point range, EFG of 51.1%, free throw shooting on 3.5 attempts, 79.3%. So that's good, right? Rebounds, 3.1 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 5.9 assists, so just under 6 assists, or basically 6 assists, 1.3 steals, a half a block, and 14.2 points per game. So again, guy that shows you a little bit of everything. Guy that's got decent size, decent athleticism. Like, he's not like, some crazy hyper athlete or anything, but he's got decent athleticism. Talking 6'4", 200 pounds. He's got some size to him. He's got some versatility. A guy that can slot in, like I mentioned, at either guard position, like make plays, kind of be the swing man for you, create that dribble penetration, kick out to shooters, throw up to the lob threat of DeAndre Ayton. The problem is, like I said, you have Austin Reeves, Luka, and LeBron James right now. Right? Maybe next season, if LeBron does depart, it's like, hey, we could use another ball handler off the bench. Yeah, we have Luka and Austin Reeves, but it'd be good to kind of have that safety net again, right? Especially if the LeBron, Luka, and Reeves thing really works, where it's like, okay, maybe we could kind of do something with all three of them out there, especially if they can all shoot. Austin Reeves kind of takes stride shooting the 3-ball, plus Augustus, if he can make improvements shooting the 3-ball, maybe makes a little more sense there. Or like I mentioned, if the Lakers do end up, trading in Austin Reeves. If you end up trading Austin Reeves, now you can kind of justify and make the argument more for a Augustus, because it's like, okay, now you need that other ball handler. You need that guy that can slot in and make the plays. Well, right now, it's like you're always going to have one of Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron on the basketball court. So how much is Augustus really going to get the opportunities to play on ball, which right now, that's his best role? So unless he is just solely a guy that you're looking to bring under the umbrella, but he's not a guy that you want to do that for the next few years. Like, he's a guy I think could play a role immediately on a team. He's a guy that I do think could be, if he's like your third guard or whatever, I think he could come in and play that role. If you want a guy that just can kind of stay in his box, stay in his lane, don't do anything crazy, don't be all flashy out there or anything. Like, just do the basics, run an offense, NBA offense. I think he's a guy that's capable of doing that. I just don't think that that's what the Lakers need necessarily right now. I think that they have enough ball handlers. You have several guys that could just initiate, right? So you don't even need him like, oh, well, maybe he could be the initiator. No, like, you have Gabe Vincent that could be your 3-and-D initiator. You got Marcus Smart that could be your 3-and-D initiator. You got Bronny James, who could be your 3-and-D initiator, right? You got guys that can go and initiate the offense and handle the ball in little stints and spurts for you, to where I don't think you need Augustus to be that guy for you, right? That like some of these other teams might, right? But again, like, he's a guy that if we could keep him under the umbrella, whether it's the G League team or something like that, if he really starts to stand out in training camp and it's like, man, we can't let this guy go, maybe you kind of figure out a way to get him on this team. Chris Menon, there we go. That's the guy I blanked on earlier. Maybe he's not he's got the athleticism and the defense, which is the thing which I think the Lakers need more of, where Augustus Marcelonus, he's kind of more of like the playmaker. He's more of the traditional point guard, which I don't really think the Lakers need at the moment. I think they need more of a guy that can come in, play some defense, be that high flyer, be that lob threat, hammer it home, kind of play and defend multiple. But like, they need kind of more of that, the athleticism, things like that, than in Augustus. But again, if Augustus is really good for you, then maybe you kind of figure it out and slot him in somewhere. Maybe you kind of, okay, like, he's just too good for us to pass up. Right? We need to kind of keep him, and kind of gives you now maybe that potential to again, maybe it kind of might be more digestible to trade in Austin Reeves or something like that, or maybe kind of look at him. Okay, well, let's next year we're not going to have LeBron, or say you get in the next offseason, it's like, okay, well, we don't have LeBron, right? So like let's bring Augustus onto the main roster. Let's see what him, Austin Reeves, and Luka kind of look like. See if maybe that solves some of it. And then, maybe Augustus and Luka just play really well together. And it's like, okay, well, maybe, hey, we're thinking about trading in Austin Reeves, or, Giannis or Jokic. You go and trade for one of those guys. You might want that guy in because you're trading Austin Reeves, stuff like that in that deal. You might want to go like, hey, it'd be nice to have an Augustus off the bench. Yeah, we're going to primarily play through, especially if you get a Giannis, right? Because then it's like Luka, you're going to need other kind of playmakers, and you don't want somebody that's going to take away from Giannis. So it's like, okay, maybe Augustus Marcelonus kind of makes more sense in that regard. If you get a Jokic, it's like, well, Jokic and Luka are going to kind of be your playmakers, your offensive engines. But again, Augustus, filling in a pinch, play a spot. So I don't know. Kind of keep an eye on him. Personally, I think he's a guy that's probably not going to make the roster. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Personally, again, been wrong before, could be wrong this time. I'm rooting for him. I'd love to see it. I think he's a very good player. Like I mentioned earlier, I think he's a guy that could actually slot in on a team and actually play a role as soon as this season. I just don't think the Lakers are that team, personally. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.